So during programming, sometime we come across a scenario where we need to jump over few lines of code, or in other words, we do not want to execute some lines of code, few lines of code. So in that case, we can use the selection syntax, that is the if syntax. So here this diamond shows that if syntax, and we write some expression within this if syntax, and if that expression is true, then we execute that line of those lines of code, and if this condition is false, then we skip those lines of code. So we make the execution of these lines of code as conditional, based upon the condition. So within this if syntax, we use these operators. This says a less than b, a less than or equal to b, a greater than b, a greater than or equal to b, a equal to b, and a not equal to b. So we can use these logical conditions to execute our if and else, and along these logical conditions we can also use these and or operators. So let's do some programming to evaluate these concepts. So let's say I put value 5 in variable a, and I assign value 10 to variable b, and now I write some if condition, and that condition say if a is less than b, then cout high. And here I cout by. So this cout is out of the scope of this if condition. It will be executed at anyway, because it has nothing to do with this if condition, but this line is bound with this if condition. If this if condition is true, then this line will be executed, but if it is false, then it will not be executed. And let's see what will happen now, because a is 5 and b is 10, so this condition is true, so this line will be executed. So let's try this program, and yes, he printed high and then by. Let's put end line here as well, just to make it more readable. Okay, so one more point to note, that right now just this line is bound with this if condition. If you want to bind more than 2 lines or 3 lines with this if condition, then you make a block using curly bracket. Like I use these curly brackets, and I put this whole syntax here within this and here. Let's say I write something here, by. I say by from main, and this is by from if, and again this is high from if. Now instead of one line, I have written 2 lines which depend upon this if condition, and to make the both lines dependent upon this if condition, I use this curly bracket. So if you do not use curly bracket, then by default only one line will be dependent on this if condition. So now if this condition is true, then these both lines will be executed, but if this if condition is false, then this whole block will be jumped over, will be skipped, and we will jump over here. But this line will be executed anyway, because it has nothing to do with the if condition. So right now this condition is true, so this will be executed, then this will be executed, and then this will be executed. Okay, high from if, by from if, and by from main. But let's say I make this condition false, and I make it 50. Now 50 is not less than b, so now this if condition is false, so we will jump over this block of code. It will not be executed, and just this line will be shown on the console screen, right? So this is it by from main. So this is if condition, but sometimes you also use else with if condition. Else give you another option that if this if is not true, then you may choose another path, that is the else path. So like if I write here else, and here again if I do not use curly bracket, only one line will be connected with this else, but if I use curly bracket, then you can use more than one line for this if condition, for this if block. So I want to use more than one line, so I use the curly bracket. So I just copy and pasted these lines from here, and I said I from else, by from else. So now, as you know, this condition is false, so we will jump over this block. It will not be executed, but since this condition is false, so we will land over here in the else block, and this line will be executed, and then of course this line, because it's outside the if else block. So I from else, by from else, and by from main. So this is if and else. And in addition to these operators, we can also let's study about the and or operator. And or operators have like, let me show you. And means both conditions should be true. Like if this condition is true, let's first discuss or. So now in this case, if this condition is false, it will check the next condition. Let's say I say 5 is greater than 0. Now you know that this condition is true, but this condition is false because a is 50 and b is 10. But as long as one of the condition is true, this or operator will, this expression will return true. So in our logical operator, if you have used multiple conditions and only one of the condition is true, then the whole expression becomes true. So this if becomes true, and control will jump over here, and it will execute these two lines, and it will not execute the else part, because when if part is executed, else part is not executed, and when if part is not executed, then else part is executed. So let's see the results. Yes, I from if and by from if. And let's say I apply AND operator here. In AND operator, both conditions must be true. Here, as you know, this condition is false and this condition is true. So this, because both conditions are not true, so this and this the whole if is false, and only else part will be executed. Yes, by from else and I from else. And one important point to note is here is that the short circuit method, and that method says if you are using AND operator, and because in AND operators all the conditions must be true, so even if one of the conditions goes false, like this condition is not true, it is false, then the compiler will skip all rest of the conditions, because it doesn't matter whether they are true or false, the whole the if overall will be false. So if just this one condition is false, compiler will not check the rest of the condition, and control will move to the else part. Similarly, in the OR case, like here, if the first condition is true, let's say I say here is another condition which is say 2 is equal to 2, and as you know this condition is true, and there are 3 OR operators, and you know in OR operators just one condition need to be true. In this case compiler will not evaluate these other conditions. It sees that the first condition is true, then the whole if becomes true, and this block will be executed. So I from if and I from if. So that is from the selection topic.